Now, friends, if you see me walking down the street, remember what you see ain't necessarily me. And if I try to hold you up, don't pay me no mind. But when you got $10 that you can blow, you ought to catch that Johnny Chicken show. He's doing fairs and concert dates all up and down the line. I said, stick 'em up, everybody, I'm robbing this place. Drop all of your money in my guitar case. Don't nobody move and don't nobody reach for that door. A lady said, why, you're Johnny Cash. I said, no, ma'am, I'm the Manhattan Flash, and I am the best bank robber in New York. Well, I don't pay any income tax. You don't pay tax on money you steal. You ought to catch that Johnny Chicken show. Chicken in black.
Louis Theroux, Duke and Jones, jiggle jiggle. My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble dribble. You know, riding in my fear, you really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no slack. And luckily the seats go back. I got a knack to relax in my mind, sipping some red wine. Shepherd's Bush, compact push, Notting Hill Gate, my Fiat skate with a crate of Cabernet. But not today, because I gotta drive. I want to stay alive, not because it's illicit or I have to get explicit. As a matter of fact, I sip on the yacht with Pig and Reese, 200 diamonds in their piece. I'm trying to get mine so I can shine. Jiggle, jiggle, I like to see you wiggle, wiggle. Jiggle, jiggle, I like to see you wiggle, wiggle. My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble dribble. You know, riding in my fear, you really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no slack. And luckily the seats go back. I got a knack to relax in my mind, sipping some red wine. I think that went really well, don't you? I enjoyed it. Nice being in the booth. So unless you have anything else, that's a wrap. My money don't jiggle jiggle. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble dribble. You know, riding in my fear. You really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no slack. And luckily the seats go back. I've got a knack to relax in my mind, sipping some red wine, sipping back, mine, sipping back, mine, sipping back, sipping back, mine, sipping red dribble, compact, beats fucking compact, lack, compact, beats, 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 back, beats, compact, and two beats, compact, and beats, compact, and beats, compact, and beats, compact, and slack. And luckily the seats go back.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
That was a great prayer. How are you guys doing tonight? Middle of the night. How are you doing? Hello, Stephen. Stephen is here. Welcome, Stephen. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see all of you who are here in the middle of the night. That's right. you guys know that Dad's been back on that flip-flop schedule. So here we are. Okay, here we are. And also, man, when I say I've been cramping up a storm, it doesn't matter. It's not your business. Look, listen. I need to, of course, start out with the typical, since Steven's here.
Steven Earmuffs.
You hear that? You didn't? Let me turn it up more.
Steven Earmuffs.
That's right, earmuff Steven. Why? Because we've got a lot on the docket tonight. There's a lot to talk about, including the creator of Marcus. Okay? We've got some Marcus news tonight. All right. You may have noticed in the title, we are going to go over some of the things that have happened the past few days with Nick Reiner. If you haven't heard, legendary director, creator of When Harry Met Sally. If you've been on this channel a long time, you know how much we love When Harry Met Sally here. Miyabito used to be Baby Fishmouth, in fact. He passed away with his wife, Michelle, because they were allegedly horrifically murdered by their son, who is an adult with a pretty, fucked up history. Let's just be honest here. He's got some substance abuse issues, some mental health issues. It was horrifying and tragic, and a lot ensued after this discovery hit the news. And of course, a statement from the president that really pissed everybody off. So that's what happened this weekend. We are going to go over that. Also, the Celeste Rivas death murder investigation with the grand jury and the David case updates. There is some wild stuff coming out that normally I'd say, oh, let's wait and see if it's true. It's there's pictures, it's true. So it's disturbing and it's weird. And I'm very curious. Yet again, another law broken by the singer David, and how does he keep getting away with it? Like, you have a missing girl with you that you've been grooming. There's proof that you've been doing that, and you're not in jail for that. And then you break another law, which we're going to talk about tonight, and you're not in jail for that. Yet other people are being threatened in his inner circle that they need to show up for the grand jury. They need to, and one of them didn't, and apparently it's a female. So they've been saying, arrests imminent for weeks now. We still haven't seen anything, but I'm very curious with the finding of yet another illegality from David. Why is he not in jail? And we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on John Cena's retirement, because I didn't get to do that last time. It was happening while we were live. I watched it, and I have a lot to say. So we've got true crime and wrestling news tonight. And also, believe it or not, there is a tie-in between wrestling and the Rob Reiner death. Which investigation of him and his wife, that and what the president said. And so we're going to have to talk about that because it's really crazy. So there's a lot to discuss tonight, and I figured we'd start it off obviously with a prayer. And let me say a few how do you do's. Hello, Bubsy. Nice to see you. Steven, earmuffs. Glitter is forever. Hello, hun. It's so nice to see you. It's been a long time. I miss you. Karen Curie Moons. Hello, our German friend. And I absolutely love it when you say this. It's so funny. Leave some DNA on the like button. Thank you very much. True crime adjacent, if you will. So many great movies like Princess Bride, obviously, and another wrestling tie over because Andre the Giant. Although Eric Andre the Giant is a hilarious thought. Princess Bride, right? He made that. He made, what was it? All Dogs Go to Heaven. He was the dad in Wolf of Wall Street, which was hilarious. His portrayal of the dad, the world has gone bananas. Yeah, who doesn't own an illegal burn cage? Like, it's not legal to have that, and yet he did. So Steven over here spoiling, but it's fine. It's fine. That is what happened. It is getting ridiculous. Like, somebody do something. Yep, Stand By Me, Misery, which, by the way, the clips from Misery that people are sharing, oh my God. She is the best actress ever. I absolutely love her. It's illegal in California to own a burn cage or burn anything. In fact, do the high-risk fire zone exactly. And not like, no, it's illegal. You're not allowed to have one over, what is it, 1,200 degrees or 1,400 degrees? Like, you're not supposed to have it, like, at all. Like, it's not even if you burn out of it. You're just not supposed to have it. Because what is it? It's like 1,200 degrees or 1,400 degrees. Or is it 14,000? Whatever. He had a 16. and I think it's 12 or 14 is what they use to cremate human remains. And so that is absurd that he had that. Like, why would you specifically have that one as well? It's crazy. Oh, All in the Family, he was Meathead, which really, you know, we need a show like that again, because that was a perfect example of like, it was a household where everybody loved all the characters, and it was almost like an American Dad, but in real life, because you have, you know, these conservative adults and these really liberal kids, and they butt heads at everything, but they still get along and love each other. And I feel like it's something that we really need right now. But it was also a very popular show. It was very funny. I used to watch it when I was a kid, and it was fucking awesome. Like, seeing those clips again is fantastic. Sleepless in Seattle, another one of my favorites. Fuck, dude. A Few Good Men. You wanted the truth. That's that one, right? You can't handle the truth. Who else received a novelty lighter shaped like a gun at a holiday party? I left it behind. I was appalled. What? You left it behind? Well, probably good, because if you have a gun shaped anything and you're trying to get on a plane, you don't have that with you one day, you know? Yeah, it's all very disturbing, and I don't understand it. God damn it. Such a good creator, such a good director, such a good, like, he did everything. He acted, he directed, he was everything. My favorite will always be When Harry Met Sally, though. Yeah, and you know, now we have it, but now there's also people, you got to see it on YouTube, and then people take it too far, and then it's too much. Rob Reiner was a national treasure. He was in the Partridge Family. Up. He was, dude, he was everywhere. Baby Fish Mouth. Like, Sleepless in Seattle was great, but When Harry Met Sally was like, that was my shit. That brought us one of the best wrestling angles too in the history of WWE. Did you know that? And it was written by a guy named Matt McCarthy, who's a comic, one of my homies. He's fucking awesome. He got to write that shit. And it was the whole yes, no story angle between Kane and Daniel Bryan, Team Hell No. And they're sitting in a diner, and they literally redo that whole scene. And wasn't that Rob Reiner's mom who says, I'll have what she's having? I think that was his mom. Like, I'm pretty sure. Throw Mama from the Train. Oh my God. So good. So good. And he was in The New Girl. He played, was it Jess's dad? God, so good. So good. First Wives Club. God, it's pissing me off. It was her, right? That was his mom. She said, I'll have what she's having. So fun. And he met his wife, Michelle, on the set of that movie. On the set of that movie. Oh, so good. That's how I know him. Throw Mama from the Train. Yeah, too young to see it. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, don't thank me. Don't thank me. Thank them. Ed TV. God, it's endless. Like, he was amazing. So fucking sad, dude. So anyway, RIP to him. Let's go ahead and play a couple of videos. I'm gonna show you some crazy shit on Twitter, some real crazy shit, and I'm gonna read you some classified ads from the Apology Line magazine, okay? Because it's not just the little articles and blurbs in there that are really, really good, but these classifieds ads are hilarious, some of them, and some are just weird. So we're gonna get there. Here we go.
Hey, my name is Richard. Hey, pooping in this kitchen litter. Dear owner, hey, please don't trip. We can settle all this right now. Just cool back there. Hey.
You're flirting with my bag. Really? I was muted the whole time. Great. Listen, the group ADHD catnip beat is going to be on our list forever. Okay, let's even go back to it. I want to hear it one more time. This is some shit me and Dylan do. We do this in car rides. We've done this before. You just got to go with it. But it's the face that he makes when he's mid beatbox that I really enjoy. Let's go back to that.
Hey, my name is Richard. Hey, pooping in this kitchen litter. Dear owner, hey, please don't trip. We can settle all this right now. Just for cool cat there. Hey.
We can settle all this right now for some smooth catnip. So good. You break out in song 2. Dude, it's just, you got to go with it. You got to go with it. And the guy driving looked like Big E. So that was fun. And for a second, I thought they were going to smack her. I thought they were annoyed and we were going to see, like, I don't know, one of those videos where they just like attack the passenger. No, we didn't. We saw collaboration, integration, and teamwork. And I appreciate that. Now, who's flirting with my sister?
You were flirting with my
Maggie, I'm not
sister.
doing this. What?
No, you were flirting with my sister.
I was flirting with your sister.
Yes, you were flirting with my sister.
What? Get over here.
Fuck you.
Maggie.
Fuck you. So funny. Hello, Fuzzy Lou. You were flirting with my sister, Fuzzy Lou. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah, they did. They ended it too quick. But it's because he was flirting with his sister. The guy right here with the smoke was like, hey, fuck you. He doesn't even have anything to do with it. And he still throws his 2 cents in. I love this.
You were flirting with my
Maggie, I'm not
sister.
doing this. What?
No, you were flirting with my sister.
I was flirting with your sister.
Yes, you were flirting with my sister.
What? Get over here.
Imagine if we can get Frankie Canabla's Baby James and this guy all on at the same time. How sick would that be? All right.
Tonight the music seems so loud. I wish that we could lose this crowd. Maybe it's better this way. We hurt each other with the things we want to say.
Could have been so. Oh. Okay, now this is pretty great. I know a lot of you guys might not beatbox, but do you ever do this? And I hope it doesn't copyright strike me, so I might have to pause in between a little, but I don't think it will. This is so good. I like this dude. I've definitely done this. Sherlock, you're a hoe. Hello, welcome.
And
I'm gonna miss everybody.
What does he say?
Now let's just go back real quick. Pay very close attention to the guy with the beard. His mouth is moving. It kind of sounds like he's singing along, but not really. What's going on here? It looks like he's even saying the right words. Look, one more time. Watch his mouth. He's definitely going with the song. He knows when to open his mouth. It's a very Garth situation we have here.
What does he say?
I don't know. I just be making stuff up.
What when that was playing just then, what were you saying?
I just make stuff up. Dude, me too. Before he says what he thought the lyrics were, I want in the chat, if you don't know the lyrics, it's already there. But if you didn't know the lyrics back in the day, what did you substitute them with? What did you substitute them with? Before you knew it was, I'm going to miss everybody. What did you think he was saying? Put it in the chat. I want to know what you used to, what did you fill in there? Yeah, of course you did. Of course you did. Those aren't the lyrics. That's not what you put. No, really. What did you think he was saying back in the day? Go back one more time. I thought he was saying, go and get the hippopotty. This is Uncle Charlie. Like, I really didn't know what he was saying. I thought he was saying, this is Uncle Charlie. Like, there's so much shit I was just wrong about. He got a big Bugatti. He got a big goop. I remember it was Big Bugatti. That's what I thought.
What does he say?
I don't know. I just be making stuff up.
What when that was playing just then, what were you saying?
Hippopotamus. A group of guys got us.
Hippopotamus, a group of guys got us. Like, what, dude? I didn't know what a hippopotty was, but he said hippopotamus, and I felt it in my soul. I was like, dude, me too.
What when that was playing just then, what were you saying?
Hippopotamus. A group of guys got us.
Fucking Bone Thugs and Harmony, dude.
Yeah.
And what?
I don't know.
What do you said when you were little?
Where we're going, dude. Anywhere.
What else does he talk about?
I thought they were saying, what you gonna do when you ain't got weed to hide? I was like, what? Go get more? Or just good? I guess you don't have any to hide.
Hippopotamus. Guys, got us. I don't know.
Guys, got What? No, I need to check it. What? Okay, so this was the beginning of the Newark one. I never realized that this dude is going at the cops like head on because the other video starts in the middle. So I started to look into this, and I have some OSINT for you on one of these videos. I think this is the one. It turns out, yeah, I do believe this is the one. It turns out this guy is a cop, and he was off duty, and he was fucking with his cop friend. So that's what I saw. Now, is it true? I don't know. It could be bullshit, but it's a fun story to think about.
Music sings so loud. I wish that we could lose this crowd. Maybe it's better this way. We hurt each other when the group we want to stay. It could have been so good.
Damn it. No. Okay, good. It paused it. I thought it was going to put on fucking Faith Hill. I was working on a cover. Okay. Don't go Jathan Waterfalls. No, it's called This Kith. Just kidding. It's called This Pith. This Pith. This Pith. It's drinkable. I actually did write that. All songs are about AIDS. You didn't know that? Every song that's out there is about AIDS. Just ask Secret Agent Melitha. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, Glittereth Forever. Hello, everybody. So listen, talk about running circles around. So yeah, imagine, dude, if you're a cop, you got to do spinnies around. You got to spin a Rooney around them. You really got to. You never heard that song? What you gonna do when there ain't no weed to hide? That's something my brother would do with the cops. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you would just, is your brother a cop? If he's not, then that's some fucking balls right there. It was a time. It absolutely was a time. Listen, I have other OSINT before we get to the main story tonight. Hold on, ma'am. Pause you, ma'am. We're not ready. And if we can get through this fast enough, we will be watching some pretty fucking crazy stuff. Why did this pop up? Hold on a second. Okay. We will be watching probably an episode of New York Goes to Work. Okay, so we will be watching that possibly if we can get through this quick enough. Let me pull up. Okay, right here. So, you know how we're obsessed with Marcus on this channel. We love Marcus. We played his videos before the Night Crew had very many views. We never could we dream in a million years that our VR crew that we consider our beloved, that we watch all the time, could take off in the manner and fashion that it did. But does it deserve it? Absolutely. Absolutely. So you all know how Jufa controls the character. That's her name in VR chat. If you don't, now you know. A woman named Jufa. However, At least I'm pretty sure it's a woman. I could be wrong. They're androgynous. It doesn't matter. He's a, first of all, he is a, excuse me, dab. He's a millworm. So I found out Marcus is a millworm. Now, while Jufa voices Marcus, or does the AI voice and does the character, right? She's the one playing as Marcus, who named him Marcus, I guess. The creator of this character specifically, the art, who thought to make him said millworm, has outed themselves through the VR chat Twitter account. And I would highly encourage you to follow him. He's going to tell you how. And I just thought this was so interesting. And I just want to say, oh my God, Oblivious Benson is so funny. How dare you? I just want to say, I think that this is one of the most important stories of our time. And I don't know any other true crime channel that's going to name this felon outright. But here we are. Here we are. You're welcome, world. I've done my part. He's a millworm.
I created this 3D worm model that's been popularized by the Marcus meme. My name is HJ. I'm a visually disabled artist and a hobbyist who loves making goofy, weird creations. You've probably seen some of my walking 3D doodles in VR chat. Things like my fleshy worms, parody characters, and all kinds of oddities. The millworm avatar really took off thanks to Gator, Jufa, and the rest of the night crew. Their energy and humor brought the little worm to life in a way that caught on quickly. Seeing so many people enjoy something I created really moves me. It's given me a lot more confidence in my art, and it has pushed me to start creating again. I taught myself avatar creation about 8 years ago from watching YouTube videos. From then, I started making over 100 weird little creations just to see them move. I want to give a big shout out to Stetchen for helping me update the millworm for VR chat, and a huge thank you to Jufa and Gator for their funny, respectful portrayal of the character. You can find this avatar on the VR chat marketplace by
Let's pause there because I laughed pretty hard when he said respectful. That made me laugh. Also, agree. I'm the visually disabled creator is so hilarious to me. Holy shit.
searching Mealworm. And you can follow me on Twitter at HJ Studios or any of the other social media.
Pause there. Ace J Studios, as in Bed Ace. That's right. Ace J Studios, VR chat under Ace J. You can look up Millworm to use Marcus yourself. Okay. This little worm character, he's called Millworm.
And feel free to send fan art.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? So that is Ace J Studio on Twitter, and I will put a link below. All right. Now we do have some more things to look at that I saved for you. Let me pull these up. Give me 1 second. Now, I think that this is something that everyone needs to see. This is very inspiring. I'll just say that. It's extremely inspiring, and I thought maybe you guys need to see this because it's been a rough week. It always is. But to me, inspirational. This should be a poster.
Yeah, you know what's crazy though? This shit that as a whole metaphor, you feel me? Like this shit mad deep. Like Frogger, my son Frogger gonna make it though, like you feel me? But the whole point is like, you know, snakes gonna always be in the grass lurking. Niggas gonna always try to drag you down, you feel me? But it's up to us though, it's up to you to push through and fight, feel me? Cause the only way is up. Feel me? They gonna always chase. Look, he chasing. Look, chasing. Always chase, but guess what? The only way is up, my nigga.
That's right.
Yeah, you know it's crazy.
The only way is up. And I just thought that was very inspirational. Okay, I have a few more that I'd like to show you. This is pretty funny. This is King of the Hill, but in anime. If you watch it, well, not in anime. Let me rephrase that. The person posted, I'll just read what they posted. Sometimes I watch King of the Hill in Japanese to pretend it's a very, very obscure anime. I don't know if it's because maybe I cheaped too much, but I was laughing pretty fucking hard at this yesterday, and I was thinking about it all night. So
全くなってないな、ボビー。お前はどこの国の人間だ？
アメリカだよ。
そうだろう？ならどうしてそんなヨーロッパのナチ野郎みたいなちまちましたせこいタバコの吸い方をするんだ？
どういうことだ？
Yes, I have. I have watched it actually. One of my friends voiced Dale, and he died in like the middle of the season, or in the middle of them recording it. It's incredible. They're called Japanese people, Bliv. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. Anime people.
全くなってないな、ボビー。お前はどこの国の人間だ？
アメリカだよ。
そうだろう？ならどうしてそんなヨーロッパのナチ野郎みたいなちまちましたせこいタバコの吸い方をするんだ？
どういうことだよ。
お前の吸い方がなってないってことを言ってるんだよ。何にしても物にはやり方ってものがある。
It really does sound intense.
わかった。
わかった。
違う違う違う。アメリカ式だ。貸してみろ。
This is not how you hold it. Damn it, Hank. I like this episode because Bobby's in the closet and he's freaking out, and Luann's trying to get them all to quit, so they're all like fiending for cigarettes. It's so good.
貸しているだけだ。肺に吸い込むんだ。いいか？ゆっくりだ。いいな。
You know what's crazy is if they can do the same thing but in Hank's voice, that would be hilarious. Like, but it's like with the, I don't know how to do it with a well, that boy ain't right. But like to do, I don't know. I bet it would sound funny though in his accent. That's always fun. Oh yeah. So this, oh God, her voice kind of is not as soothing as I think they want it to be. But this is interesting. You guys remember how I told you you can be a seed now? You can get yourself put in a seed when you die, and then they plant you and you become a tree. And how I'm going to do that when I die, but I'm going to be planted in front of the governor's mansion so I can become a tree, and then Greg Abbott, it doesn't matter. So there's another way. They can turn you into, I guess, water and then use you to help the trees. It's in Vegas, of course. Let's find out more about this. Cause what?
Hi, you're dead, and you've chosen the most environmentally friendly cremation available, alkaline hydrolysis. Let's cremate you by water. First, we identify you and then take your digital fingerprints for your family. Next, you're weighed, and we measure the potassium hydroxide, which will increase the alkalinity of the water. We dress you in a natural shroud, no plastic, no synthetic materials, and place you into a stainless steel vessel. We enter your weight, and the water gets to...
This is the part I'm offended by. Don't put my weight. Why do you got to do that? I'm already dead. You got to bring a bitch down again?
We enter your weight,
no,
and the water gets to 203 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wait, that's really hot. Why are they doing that to us?
It gently circulates around.
Yeah, she's saying you. I think she's going to get us. Steven earmuffs.
Around you for 12 to 14 hours.
Hold on. It gently circulates you for 12 to 14 hours. Please tell me I'm not alive for this part, right? Okay. Also, what? That's so long? Like, they're already dead. 12 to 14 hours is a long time. It's so long.
Around you for 12 to 14 hours, completing hydrolysis and dissolving tissue into the basic elements of life. The water byproduct is sterile, no DNA, no RNA, and is nutrient rich. It is drained.
Now, I hope a murderer doesn't have access to any of these, because you take out all my NAs. Why? I mean, I get why, but also yikes.
Treated and flows to the Las Vegas Wash, our natural wetlands habitat to support local plants and wild.
Like, Vegas already has so many dead people that they haven't found, and now they're going to grow trees with dead people. Huh.
Life. Like every cremation, the remains have to be collected from the chamber. Yours are dried, sometimes with the flowers or petals your family may have added, and then processed.
Wait, so my family can put weed in there? And does it just become resin? How does this work? Also, for the love of God, Sherlock, this is so offensive. Put an apostrophe between U and R and add an E for the love of fuck.
Those cremated remains can be put into an urn, can be made into stone, or neutralized to begin new life through a tree. We're sorry you died, but thanks for me.
You don't sound like you're sorry, but also that looks like egg. Can I be made into egg?
Those cremated remains can be put into an urn, can be made into stone, or...
So this part, why is she putting popcorn packing in the tree? Am I the popcorn packing? Yes. How do I get it so everyone can smoke me? Like the Sister Wendy, we're learning about new ways to destroy our bodies when we're dead, instead of destroying them when we're alive, which we also do, but in this way, like a forever kind of destruction. Some people want to be cremated by fire, but apparently others want to be cremated by water. Now I'm wondering if they can pressurize some sort of wind energy to compress me and vaporize me into a gas so I can become a fart. I don't know.
Neutralize.
Please, this is legal record that Sister Wendy would like to be composted and that Mom Noah is hungry. You're hungry. Isn't that Erica? You're hungry? This makes you hungry? Okay.
To begin new life through a tree. We're sorry you died, but thanks for making the green choice.
Sorry you died.
CO2 emissions, 90% less energy. Thanks for making the world.
Wait, so the world has 90% less energy in it because I died? Oh?
A better place on your way out.
Let's see how Melissa wants to go out. I want to be dressed in a murdered person's clothes and covered in lard and then fed to the wolves to help someone get away with murder. Well, that is now legally noted. I guess we could, okay, we can make that happen. Okay. Yeah, I know you just watched some sort of TV. I can tell. And please elaborate, because Sherlock might want to be a part of it. I hear the secret agent Melissa keeping distracted as much as possible. What are you need to be distracted? You need to be distracted? Well, let me show you something. Let me show you something to distract you from the mystery and wonderment of life. Okay? So this is the dogs at baseball games, which hate baseball, don't like that. But the dogs, that's the fun part. That's the only fun part is the dogs. And you know how the dog has to go get the ball? Okay. What happens to the ball dog when he's not getting the ball? When he's not being a good boy and getting the ball? What happens? He stays behind one of these things and he has a guy. He has a little trainer guy. And this trainer guy tells stories to the dog about dogs of baseball past. And I really love that. No, we haven't gone there yet. We're about to. Right now, we're talking about baseball dog. So this guy tells baseball dog stories of baseball past, baseball dog past specifically. And I thought, wow, this is cute. This will really get your mind thinking. So listen to some of these stories. He's telling the dog.
Right in here. Sit down. There you go. This is our, sixth game, right? Miss Babe Ruth, you never knew Miss Babe Ruth. She was the first dog here. Started in 2006. And then she worked 649 straight games. That's like near a little over 9 seasons. And I was down here with every one of them. We were sitting right here behind this screen. And I am going to put in an order to get this thing clean so we can see how to have it a little better. But she was a pro, just like you are. Miss Babe Ruth, Master Yogi Berra. And we had Miss Lulu Gehrig. Lulu was great. Every time a foul ball would hit that wall right over here and run back out on the field, she'd take off and get it. She was the only one that ever did that. Very cool. She worked for about 6 years. And then Jackie, little Jackie, your sister, she had no interest whatsoever. She just wanted want to lay around the office. So we made her the office manager. You know, that was Luke Brown that got that hit. Luke Brown was here last year. Woo! All right, ready? Ready? All right, there you go. Come on, Willie. Come on. Come on. Come on. That a girl. That a girl. Hey, you talking. All right, come on. Get over here.
Isn't that incredible? Isn't that good? What a good dog. I like how he's like, there were so many bulldogs and bad dogs. So freaking many, which is crazy. There were a lot of them. And oh my goodness. Speaking of good dogs. First of all, love Hall & Oates. Second of all, love this dog. Third of all, hate Dancing Santa. Hate it. Why? Now, I just thought that was great. It was just great, you know? You got the butt shaking, you got the dog staring like, what the fuck is this? What is this? All right. So that happened. Now, this is a fuck. Okay, so sorry. There's a lot of hamster material. Here we go. So this kid made me giggle. I thought she'd make you giggle too. So I added her on here as well. Here we go. Here we go. This is all of you. What a cut up. Anyway, I thought that kid was weird. Actually, I think she might be overdoing it. She's kind of overacting. It's a bit much. Now I kind of hate it. Okay, so this is oh, come on. Okay. Well, it's not working. Hold on. Twitter is glitching out like a motherfucker. I'm trying to find you some good content I saved. Whatever, it's fine. By the way, Luigi Mangione news, now they're saying that some of his statements have to be thrown out because he didn't know he was being recorded. They didn't tell him. And it was going down in Pennsylvania. And there's two-party consent laws, which actually come into play with a lot of stuff that's been going on the internet this week. But apparently some of his statements are being thrown out, and Luigi Mangione is, I mean, he's got a hell of a defense going, doesn't he? It's very interesting. But also, if you missed this last week, there is this person who said that they would represent him. So right now things are going really good for him. And, you know, if they start to go bad, they could always hire this guy.
Your Honor, defer. Miss Janice.
Judge Athens.
Your Honor, this is so unfair. Your Honor, I think I want to appeal. Your Honor. Your Honor, stop. This is propaganda. Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say.
Okay, so Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say. I love him. I I've also added the following video into the zeitgeist of our channel.
Bye-bye, bitch.
Which I love. Don't you love it? I love it. It's Seth Rollins. Another thing I want to remind you guys is, have you been doing your morning routine?
Hello, folks. Nuck here. A lot of you have been asking me about my morning routine, so here it is. It's my new teeth. Snort-worthy smile, if you ask me. So I like to start my morning by waking up at 2 in the afternoon, get a quick lift, lick, and lurk in before I go off and spend the next several hours in the woods. And this time is mainly for my freeform lurks. I just lurk like no one's watching. Then I head into town to do some casual creeping. I mean, I'm freaking everyone out because I'm getting in my squirms. But you gotta squirm to stay firm. I forget what I'm doing for the next 3 days and get an office job that I absolutely hate. Spend most of my time hiding in the storage closet, but all my coworkers know I'm in there. The next 26 hours I'm purposefully unconscious, come to so I can try on some tuxes because I'm getting married. Love to Ragnora. I'll practice my funeral for 30 minutes, at which point I gotta pretend to listen to someone tell me about a dream they had, but I'm really just thinking about what I'm gonna say. Then, and this is important, I'll just wait, eerily, for hours. What am I waiting for? A big heap of nothing. I wait to wait. I'll spend 2 minutes trying to create fire with my mind, giving me just enough time for a last lurk before the day begins. That's the Bobo way.
Okay. So next up, here's what we're going to watch. We're not going to watch a ton of this. But I am going to put it on 1.25. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I could just go pull all these individual clips, but old Styface Jesse already has it. We do love Jesse Weber. I do. I don't know if you guys like him. Some people, they have their faves. Some people love Bam Bam. Some of you are really into Nancy, which I get because, you know, Raccoon Saloon is badass. But also leaving your glove at a crime scene is pretty fucked up. Anyway, I personally, big fan of Jesse Weber. I like to see how big his sty gets. And sometimes his dogs bark in the background, and I'm trying to identify what breed they are. So I figured let's pull up this. He's got all the information we were going to talk about anyway. Okay, Dad's having a lazy night. And he also has some really good clips from the private investigator who we talked about as far as he was in the Appalachian foothills on a mountain search for a lost person, a missing person. And he is the investigator who was hired by the homeowner that David was staying in the home of, unbeknownst to him, to the homeowner, because apparently it was actually David's manager who was renting the home. So this guy hired Steve to find out, hey, Steve Fisher investigates. What the fuck? Like, did they take anything in the house? Did they fuck it up? Did they miss something? Did they need video camera footage? What can I do? And so Steve collects all this information, and he even collects info on who was actually in the car driving it, which is very important, right? Very important. And yeah, he does that shit we were talking about where he slides in Morgan and Morgan today. He'll just be like, and you know what could keep your whole family from being bludgeoned to death? Calling Morgan and Morgan. And it's like, how? How could that help, Steve? Not Steve, fucking Jesse. They're all blending together. But it is pretty funny. It kind of reminds me of how I'm about to tell you that.
Call Megan and Megan today. If you have been attacked by anyone but Darlene, we cannot control Darlene.
Okay. Also, before we start, I would like to read you, because I said I'd do it earlier. I'm going to read you one or two of these classifieds ads from the apology book. Are you ready? Okay. David, a musician, seeks female, emotionally intense, spiritually inclined, physically energetic, disruptive, unruly, self-secure, affectionate, good self-esteem. Study participants' true in-depth responses to fear and excitement effect on male loss of bladder control will get in return. I don't know what that means, you guys. Specifics, setting, pre-post thoughts, etc. All requests acknowledged. Attractive divorced female, 35, wants generous cash gifts for nothing because I deserve it and you've been very naughty. Hi, my name is Joe. I'm looking for friendship and possible relationship in the future, but I emphasize future because I'm 5'11". What? Dark brown hair, brown eyes. I'm Italian. 26 years old, crazy sense of humor. Looking for the same. Hi, I'm a lonely prisoner. Wanted. A pen pal for a lonely guy seeking female, or maybe are you lonely because you're in fucking jail? Sorry. If you are into movies, model building, and music plus naturalism, please send a letter. I'll write back. Charles Page. And then he puts his whole address and phone number. You guys, the classifieds were wild in the 90s. Anyway, let's see what Jesse Weber has to say. And let's hear from Steve Fisher investigates.
Hernandez, the teenager whose body was allegedly found in singer David's car. Turns out the private investigator who's been looking into this case just made a bombshell revelation on social media we got to talk about. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, real quick before we jump into this, got to tell you it's open enrollment season again. Yeah, this is where you compare the exploitative premiums, the fine print of health insurance. It is chaos. It is awful. The good news is we got a great sponsor to help us out, Child Health. It's different. You know why? Its members fund each other's bills directly. Now, if something big happens, you pay the first $500 and the crowd funds the rest. They have a track record of handling major events, including bills over $1 million, obviously giving you confidence. Plus, you get access to low-cost prescriptions, testing, high-quality doctors, and with ACA subsidies expiring, premiums are going to skyrocket. So far, members have saved over $40 million. So this open enrollment, take your power back. Join Crowd Health to get started today for $99 for your first 3 months. Use code SIDEBAR at join.
Steven, what is this? What are you talking about? Why'd you say that? That's true. That's accurate. I'm proud of you. I'm about to cry. Why are you telling people these rules? These are important. This is so vital. Yes. Are you talking about the NXT situation? You're responding to Melissa. What did she say? Holy crap. Oh my God. Yes. We were going to talk about it at the end, but I'm also so proud of you to ask that and Steven to respond with inaccurate. So it's actually a little bit different here. Okay. This actually might have been a Mariah May fuck up. Okay. So she was supposed to kick out, right? And simultaneously, instead of kicking out, for some reason, probably because the way she landed, she decided to pull her shoulder up, and both shoulders need to be down, right? Now, the issue is the plan was she was supposed to kick out. So the shoulder thing was her, I think, would you agree with this, Dylan, trying to save a botched ending. So it would have been Mariah May's fault. However, either way, there was supposed to be an out there. So the referee should have taken one for the team. Normally, the referee will take a fault and look like a scumbag before a wrestler will to save the wrestler, right? And then they discuss it in the back later. But in this case, the ref just did the 3 count regardless, even though she had her shoulder up, even though the plan was to kick out. And it's just a clusterfuck. And that girl, although she wasn't supposed to win, because she's really young, right? However, she's been in really amazing factions in the past. The Chase U, Angle, and all of them have gone on to the main roster, and some have even since been fired and injured. Yeah, it was a 1-2 fuck at 3. It was wild. Steven. And here's the problem. Yes, it was the NXT championship. Now, here's the problem. Mariah May came from AEW. She's the one who fought Toni Storm, and they were covered in blood, and they did this 50s match, and they mocked each other for months. It started out as like they were best friends, and it was like a years-long storyline, and it culminated in the best women's match in like AEW history. And then Mariah May left the company a champion. So not only did she go to WWE and get hired and chose to do that to be on NXT, which is really the youngest brand. It's the one where, It's a step ladder up to the main roster. It's where they start you. But she'd been wrestling for years, and she's already headlined Wembley Stadium. But she was like, I gotta go. I have to start at the Performance Center. And part of her contract was, but even though we're making you start at the bottom, we're gonna make you a champion immediately. And they did. And she was supposed to hold on to this and build this whole storyline. And now this young girl gets it by accident because the ref fucked up, right? Yes, Tony Storm, that whole, I'm going to rip my tits off. That was because of that. So then she loses it. And that girl, though, the girl who won it, she actually does deserve it. That's what's fucked up. It's kind of a Daniel Bryan situation. She worked harder than anybody. She's actually been there since she was a younger teenager. Like, she's been there since, like, I think since she was 17 or 18. She's put in the work, and she absolutely deserves it. But the thing is, everybody kind of knew Mariah May is going to win this, and we want to see where this goes, and they wanted to build it up, right? And so everybody like really loves Mariah May because she just came here and she's on this crazy streak. She has a whole new name, everything. And they're like, yeah, no, she's probably going to tear through this girl because they've been kind of letting this girl take shit for weeks. But at the same time, that girl killed it in a promo recently. So there is a chance we could all be getting worked, but I don't think so. That seemed like a big botch, which is also why I think it could be on purpose. But it definitely looks like a huge botch, especially when you consider the crowd reaction. That is such a great question. Thank you for asking that. Thank you for just knowing these things. And God bless you both. You both get, you know what? Extra allowance for you two. Fucking A. Yeah, okay. Anyway, Jesse Weber. Yeah, back to him. You talking about, first of all, he has Wi-Fi and it's high speed. How dare you? He is edging. He's edging. He's like, I would like to say something.
CrowdHealth.com. CrowdHealth is not insurance. You can opt out.
No,
we got to talk
we are
about.
not
And
about health.
It may give us some sort of insight into what happened to 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who, as you know, her body was found in a Tesla that was allegedly registered to singer David back in September out in LA. There have been no arrests. There have been no charges filed. There has been reporting, particularly from TMZ, that possibly an investigative grand jury out in LA may be hearing evidence. We did previous sidebars on that. You can check it all out. But one underlying question that we don't have the answer to, and from a forensic point of view, perhaps is a complicating factor, is what happened to Celeste? How did she die? What was the true state of her body? How was she moved? Which is why the update that I'm about to get into is so interesting.
And I would like to also add, like, I don't know why he played it coy like that. Like, we know what the grand jury is about. They've already announced what the grand jury is about. Like, there's no, like, we're told or we think. No, like, his manager was there. Steve Fisher already outed it. It 100% is about the David and Celeste case.
We want to talk about complicating. You know what else is complicating? The fact that the cause and manner of death hasn't been released and that the details from the medical examiner's office have been sealed by court order. You know, according to a release from the medical examiner's office, it said at 10:54 a.m. on Friday, November 21st, the County of Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiner received a court order initiated by the Los Angeles Police Department to place a security hold on medical examiner case number 2025-14252 Celeste Rivas Hernandez. No records or details associated with the case, including the cause and manner of death and medical examiner report, can be released or posted on the website until further notice. And then you had the Robbery Homicide Division that released a statement not only addressing this, but also addressing the media reporting that Celeste.
And also the fact that they put a case number on that says a lot, right? Like, it is about this case. So that's concerning because remember, the medical examiner is sparring with the LAPD right now, which this, by the way, look at how they're handling this case. And in a minute, when we talk about Nick Reiner's case, okay, for murdering Michelle and Rob Reiner as parents, allegedly, look at how they handle that one. You're going to see a pretty big difference.
Was decapitated and that her body was either entirely or partially frozen. Now, this is based primarily on reporting from TMZ. They had a statement that said, Robbery Homicide Division statement on Celeste Rivas investigation, Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Police Department is aware of the recent stories posted by various media outlets about the David Celeste Rivas investigation and would like to dispel some misinformation contained in the reporting. The body of Celeste Rivas was not frozen when it was discovered on September 8th, 2025. She had not been decapitated. As far as the court order, the LAPD sought to seal the records of the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's investigation into Celeste Rivas' death. That order was sought only.
Oh, yes, Glitter. We're going to talk about it. Attorney Alan Jackson. Absolutely, he did. And just gross, gross. Like, okay, so the rich kid who mowed down those girls in Malibu because the rich kid was driving, what was it, over 100, like a fucking idiot. Okay. So he's representing them. And then Harvey Weinstein. And now this. That's fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, goddamn, dude. I'll tell you what, he doesn't have any quit, but also like, Jesus, dude. Like, you can also represent people who actually didn't do it. You could do that too. Oh yeah, and Kevin. I mean, you could actually represent people who really didn't do it. It's fucking crazy.
To ensure detectives from Robbery Homicide Division learned of important information surrounding her death before the media and the public. The order was not sought to undermine transparency. Okay, now we got to talk about this update. And this update concerns Steve Fisher. We've had him on the program before. Steve is the private investigator who was hired by the owner of the property where David had reportedly been staying.
And I think it's interesting, too, when you look at the dichotomy between how they handled this case, which was in the Hollywood Hills, right? And then that case, which is in Brentwood, which is where OJ happened. Same police department, right? Including the LA sheriff. Like, Jesus, dude. Very different. Very, very different. It's strange. It's so strange. I don't know about you guys, but the whole like Alan Jackson element of it, I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to get off. He's going to get out. Like, I don't know, because the way they wrap this up and the way they serve that warrant, like, regardless of what, like, they needed to, they did everything pretty perfect with the Reiner case. I mean, if Celeste Rivas' parents could get Alan Jackson to represent them civilly, that would be fucking cool. Or like, I mean, I fucking hope David doesn't. I hope what, like, Jesus, dude. It's really hard to like that guy. It really is.
In the Hollywood Hills. That property was apparently near the Tesla. That property, by the way, was searched by authorities. Now, Steve has come out and made some comments about his investigation, including things like this.
But I will say this, there are some things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her. And it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died. But
that is a good point on the Karen Reed one. But Yannetti was her first attorney, right? She hired Yannetti first. So I would consider Yannetti head counsel there. I mean, am I wrong? Was it AJ? Because I thought it was Yannetti. I guess, would he be considered co-counsel, or are they both full rep? Whatever. I just wish that after Karen, he would have chosen not guilty people to represent, actually not guilty. It feels like a weird look. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, and hell before, God damn it. You know what I mean? It's just strange because I really want to like him. And then it's like, but he freed Weinstein. It's like, God damn it. But I still got Yannetti.
Or they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot at the time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
And he was recently discussed on another episode of Sidebar, where he made a post on X, seemingly fighting back about potentially being held in contempt of court for allegedly talking about or discussing a case that he had seemingly testified about. He really fought back against that allegation as well. And we assume this was about the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Not definitively confirmed, but when you read between the lines of his message, it seemed to be that. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. But now, given what he has said about his findings, this is what we need to talk about. He just posted this on X. Quote, Although my words have been misquoted by some, what I actually said about certain items found at the Doheny address was that they were, quote, items you would expect to find on a farm rather than in a home in the Hollywood Hills. One of those items was a burn cage incinerator, advertised to burn at 1,600 degrees. Human cremations are typically performed at approximately 1,400 degrees. An incinerator is not legal to use within city limits and serves no legitimate purpose at a residential property in the Hollywood Hills. Some will argue that this item was intended as a prop for a video. If that were the case, it raises several obvious questions. Why would a 55-pound bird cage be delivered to a private residence instead of directly to a prop designer or production house? Why would it be ordered before departing on an extended world tour? And why was it never used in any video production?
I agree, Sherlock. Let's run that back. And no, I agree with you completely, Derek. And that's what I would say. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with that shit. Cause I'm like, well, now this fucking scumbag is free. Cause you're too fucking good at your job. It pisses me off. You know? I got a lot of mixed feelings on this shit.
There could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. And that's why we're trying to learn more about that. I wish I could say more, but for obvious reasons I can't. But it doesn't have to do with how she died, but maybe how they were planning on ultimately getting rid of her, and how maybe that Tesla was just a holding spot of time, and things just, their timing was just off as far as getting this done. But there's a few things that were just like, will blow your mind.
And he was recently discussed on another episode of Sidebar, where he made a post on X seemingly fighting back about potentially being held in contempt of court for allegedly talking about or discussing a case that he had seemingly testified about. He really fought back against that allegation as well. And we assume this was about the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Not definitively confirmed, but when you read between the lines of his message, it seemed to be that. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. But now, given what he has said about his findings, this is what we need to talk about. Subsidies expiring, premiums are going to skyrocket.
God damn it, I was muted the whole time. First of all, I fucked up. It went back. I put it back. I'm sorry. Second of all, agreed, Stevie. He's the new Gloria Allred. Let's think about it. Who were the famous attorneys that were like, oh shit, they got them? Because Casey Anthony's attorney thought he was going to get that, but everyone's like, you fucking scumbag. I wonder what separates him from that guy. I guess that he didn't chase her around the office trying to pinch her butt and bang her on the desk. So there's that. And I know that their value goes up. Yeah, Johnny Cochran. Oh, we can always talk about his hair. He reminds me of the guy from what's that show with Penn Badgley? And homegirl got it all fucked up. Laura Ingle keeps repeating it. Fuck, it's a question. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he looks kind of like that guy. Yeah, he has David Lynch hair for sure. Robert Shapiro, that's one of them. Yeah, exactly. And she had Dr. G from, the show's called You. And that fucking clip is hilarious. Yeah, she said her dad diddled her and he didn't. And then, she went on to become a PI, I think, for that attorney that used to chase her around and play pinch ass. Yep, F. Lee Bailey was a big one. I Love You. It's such a good show. And it's so stupid, too. Like, the names are ridiculous. Mark Garagos is a big one. A big one. Morgan and Morgan, absolutely. Alan Dershowitz, and then, well, he's going to need one. Bev used to be a fucking powerhouse attorney. Remember that? She got a bunch of rapists off. She's crazy. There were quite a few good ones. We know all the prosecutors. Kelly Stigler, Nancy Grace. There were some others. Who represented Monica Lewinsky? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Marsha, also an O.J. Alem. That was one of them. It's a lot of California attorneys. I'm trying to think of some New York ones. Robert Kardashian. And then that chick who's on oh no, that was a judge. Ugh, I can't stand her. Judge Janine Pirro. Fucking dude, I can believe Trump put her on some shit. God damn it. If that bitch gets to the Supreme Court, I'm gonna go get turned into water and pumped into Vegas, because no way, dude.
Be delivered to a private residence instead of directly to a prop designer or production house? Why would it be ordered before departing on an extended world tour? And why was it never used in any video production? It is also important to note that there were additional items present that could be used in conjunction with the burn cage. To be very clear, this burn cage was not used. It was still new and in the box. However, given that Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains were ultimately found in the Tesla trunk, the presence of an incinerator at the same residence associated with that vehicle necessarily raises questions about intent. The burn cage was not taken during the search warrant, and because it was not used, it appears it's not of importance to any possible criminal investigation. But we think it's important context, even if not criminal. The burn cage and other related items were delivered to the residence under a false name, although the deliveries were accepted at the property. Attached is a photograph of the actual burn cage incinerator as found at the residence, along with an image from Dr. Burns' advertising materials for the product. Hashtag Celeste Rivas Hernandez, hashtag David. And he does include those photos, by the way. What do we make of this? Let me bring on Matt Irvine to talk about this, retired detective, law enforcement instructor. Matt, so good to have you here. Quite the statement from Steve Fisher, making it public. Your thoughts if this is true?
Well, I think Steve Fisher's remarks are very well considered. I cannot think of a legitimate, innocent reason why a burn cage would be received at a private residence, why it would be ordered under a false name. I also, frankly,
let's
can't
actually just start
understand.
there. Keep your thought.
Okay.
The only thing I would say is about a false name. You know, if he's a celebrity, he doesn't want people knowing that he's staying there. Thoughts?
Fair enough. But if he's got a bunch of people that he's working with because he intends to use this as part of a concert tour, as part of a video, he's got a whole staff of people that can order something for him. I don't understand why he would need to do it under an assumed name. But your point is well taken. That could be an innocent explanation. But again, to Steve's points, if that is indeed the intent for this item, why is it delivered to a private residence? Why is it not with him on tour? Why is it not taken to some location to be used for some kind of a video? That said, I also can't think of a good reason why LAPD didn't seize this item. I mean, if you're conducting an investigation into a body found in the trunk of a car, one of your working theories has got to be that this body was placed there in order to move it from the scene where the death occurred and then transport it to some third location to conceal it or dispose of it. And if you're looking at the possibility that somebody is trying to dispose of a body, and you search the residence of a person of interest in that case, and you find what is essentially a home crematorium, why don't you take that? I know that when you're serving a search warrant, you can only seize the things that the court authorized you to seize and that you told the court you expected to find there. I'm sure nobody expected to find this item there. But what you do in a search warrant when you find something evidentiary that was unexpected is you write what's called a piggyback warrant. It's a simple addendum where you say, hey, judge, while serving that search warrant that you issued, we found this other thing. We think it's evidence. We'd like to seize that too. It's a typical one-page addendum that's tacked onto your warrant. I've never seen a judge not sign one of those, and I don't know why that wasn't done in this case.
So let me ask you this, Matt. You could be 100% right? First of all, assuming this is true, that a burn cage was delivered there, and assuming for a moment that law enforcement didn't seize it, okay, let's say that's accurate. I guess the question would be either, like you said, it was beyond the realm, it was beyond the scope of a search warrant. Maybe they didn't amend it for whatever reason. Or is it possible, when we're trying to think about what happened to Celeste, her body showed absolutely no sign of burning whatsoever, and they couldn't definitively establish that the purchase, the delivery of this incinerator was related to her in any way?
Well, that's a fair statement. I mean, and as Steve Fisher mentioned, it was unused, but it seems like because of the circumstances that this body was found in the trunk of the car, that the crime of disposal of the body was incomplete, that there was a plan, or at least the beginnings of a plan to conceal or dispose of the body. And for one reason or another, that plan was not fully executed. And that doesn't make the burn cage any less evidentiary. Again, a search warrant doesn't have to reach the level of probable cause to arrest. You just have to argue that you're investigating a crime and that this item is potentially evidence of that crime. So it's a much lower standard than what you would need to arrest somebody. And I think that standard is well met just by the circumstances of the discovery of Celeste's body.
If somebody had used that, could it thoroughly incinerate a body and there'd be no...
Okay, so here's the thing. First of all, curious, what do you think about this? Kind of weird the police didn't take it. So that's kind of weird. Also, what's that? Yeah, he found the Build-A-Bear certificate that linked it to Celeste's cousin. Yeah, and it was proof that she was in, I think it was a specific mall or a place with him where one of her other alt accounts had taken a picture there. So in a way that also, like, why are we even talking about it needing that link? Because the reflection in that picture was David's bathroom that she posted with her in it. And you can see her. Like, it's so crazy. I still don't understand how they haven't charged him with anything because she was missing at the time, right? And also, I think that that was why people were trying to say it was frozen also, is because they were trying to fill in that hole, but there's no way to really know that right away. Although they did say that there were frostbite wounds, which I was looking more into, and there can be like false positives, obviously, especially with autopsies where the remains, you know, it's been some time and they're in a certain state. And depending on whether you're talking about bone or flesh, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but there's actually some reports in the OSINT cheat sheet that talk about this, but like frostbite type of post carving is something that they experiment on what do you call it, pigs, mainly pigs and sheep and various different, you know, livestock, and they will see how the tissue stretches and what it looks like when you cut it frozen and compare that to humans. And there's just so much forensic sciencey shit behind it, but they can often be mistaken for other specific patterns. Also degraded knives that have perhaps, or tools that perhaps are older or, you know, worn a bit. There's just a lot of different things. There's also another, I guess it would be, I mean, it's kind of a good example, but think about West Memphis, how they described that these boys' private areas were mutilated, right? And then what did they find out later? It was actually snapping turtles. So wounds can be presented differently based on length of time and circumstance. And so when that was spread by TMZ, considering they were accurate about a lot of other shit, it was pretty easy to go, oh, well, this sounds like totally accurate information. This sounds plausible. But people were straight up reporting that and pontificating about it in online forums as if it were so. And so for that to be the one thing the LAPD spoke out against, and considering the LAPD was not giving any statements prior to that, no press conferences, unlike the Reiner's case, no press conferences. And, you know, it isn't really that open shut if you think about it, because, you know, well, there's a couple of different comparisons we could make, but we're not going to get too deep into that. I want to hit play on this, but I'm curious, what do you guys think about this thus far? Like, I feel like that's some circumstantial evidence that should have been collected by the police, and I'm more concerned now with why they didn't take that and how Steve Fisher saw that, because that shouldn't have been there for him to see. That should have been taken, in my opinion. What do you think?
Human composition left? To be no human remains left?
You know, I'm not familiar with that product. I trust Steve Fisher when he says that an incineration of a human body, a cremation, takes place at 1400 degrees. If this thing could go to 1600, I don't know what its capacity is at 55 pounds. I can't imagine it's that large. But, you know, that again brings us back to this allegation of dismemberment or potential dismemberment if you're going to dispose of a body in that way. It's a pretty awful thing to consider, but it looks like somebody may have been considering this.
Well, that's an interesting part, because when we first started on this case, there was a question, why was the body left in a Tesla? Either it was, you know, somebody was in the middle of trying to figure out what to do next with the body, they panicked, or it was deliberately left there to cast suspicion on David, right? We thought that could have been a possibility. But if the body's left in the car and now you're thinking about the purchase of this incinerator, that is like really, really, really sloppy work. I mean, you're purchasing an item to be delivered for potentially the disposal of a body. I mean, that's the allegation, or one of the allegations, we don't know for sure. But if that we're taking that as true, that is like really bad planning on a number of different levels.
Well, I would expect that however Celeste died was not something that was very well planned or thought through. And I would expect that if you've got a bunch of people who don't have significant, sophisticated criminal histories and they're confronted with a dead body under whatever circumstance, panic would be a pretty likely reaction. And, despite all the stuff we see in TV and movies, most people that commit crimes aren't terribly sophisticated. These are not, Ocean's 11 type, master criminal kinds of enterprises. These are people that get in situations where they are way over their head. Things happen that they did not intend, and they get out of control and they panic. And a lot of the kind of circumstances of this case seem to suggest that.
And if it is true that that burn cage was not used, that it was left in the packaging, if someone had purchased that for the purpose, let's say, of disposing of Celeste's body, it gives you kind of an insight to someone's mentality and what they're capable of doing, which also makes me wonder, was this the first attempt to dispose of her body? If someone would be willing to incinerate her body, we don't have definitive evidence of that. I mean, we're just taking this report from Steve Fisher for a minute, we're assuming it. Does it not give you indication about what the state of Celeste's body may have been like? And again, what's complicated is we don't know the cause and manner of death. We don't know more details, particularly about her body. But am I off to say, if someone has the will to do that, would this have been their first attempt to dispose of a body? Does it give you an indication of what else may have happened to Celeste's body?
Well, you raise a couple of questions. Everything about the circumstances of the discovery of poor Celeste's body suggests something that was not terribly well planned and an act that was not complete. In terms of the burn cage, it's hard to know when in the course of all of this item was purchased. Was this the first plan to dispose of her body, and for some reason, a plan B was hatched that involved putting it in the trunk of the car? Was there somebody that was supposed to remove the body from the trunk and place it in the burn cage, and for one reason or another either failed to do that or decided not to do that? I mean, there's a lot we can speculate about here. I think the big takeaway is that one or more people, probably inexperienced in criminal activity, panicked and hatched one or more schemes, none of which ultimately were taken to their completion.
Mm-hmm. But what is complicating, I mentioned before, is you have this seal on the medical examiner records. In your experience, I don't know if you and I had an opportunity to talk about this. Whatever's going on between the ME's office and the LAPD is interesting, to say the least.
It is interesting and it is unusual. The LA coroner's office works with 40 plus agencies in the greater LA County area, but it works very, very closely with LAPD and particularly with robbery homicide. And, defense attorneys often complain that homicide detectives and the coroner work too closely together. I've attended autopsies where I'm standing with the medical examiner and we're looking at the evidence and we're talking about what we think may have happened. And when people are acting in good faith, that leads to good information and good investigations, but it's very hand in glove. And that's not true in every jurisdiction, but it's very true in LA. It's particularly true for the truly expert and experienced people in LAPD robbery homicide. So for them to be issuing contradictory statements, or for the LA coroner's office to say, we wish we could tell you, but we can't, and then LAPD coming out and saying what's being leaked, possibly from the coroner's office, is not true. I have never seen that before. These are people that work very, very closely together on very sensitive cases, and there's usually a lot of trust and a lot of cooperation.
Yeah, and the chief medical.
Okay, well, that's not what we've seen. I think we've had enough of him, right? So, yeah, I think that the point, I don't know that Steve was necessarily trying to make a point. Let's just say that. But I do think that it can go towards circumstantial evidence of intent, or maybe they planned on doing something with it and then never finished. Maybe the date it was purchased, aligns with another specific date that has to do with the case. And yeah, I agree. I would want to know that. And people were asking Steve about that on Twitter, and he was not able to give an answer to that. He said, I know Mookie's. Now, Mookie's is being very, very dramatic right now. Okay, very dramatic. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to show you, okay, come on, get out of here, bug. I'm going to show you the latest update. There's a couple of updates that are going on right now with I know, honey, I need to take him outside. You know what? I'm going to take him outside to pee-pee, okay? And I'm going to play this for you. I know, Mookie's, I know. And it's an update on the Rob Reiner case. And it's out of Fox Local, New York. Okay, Mookie's. Oh, he's screaming. I already took him out too. He's just being very dramatic. I'm gonna hit play on this, then I'm gonna take him out, and I'll be right back. Yeah, he yells at me sometimes. It happens. He's gonna bark at him. You gonna bark? No, he doesn't want to bark right now. So here, and then I'm gonna give you some information I collected that they might not talk about in this. So check this out.
Reiner residence on Sunday, the brutal death of not only Rob Reiner, but his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner. Earlier today, I got the chance to speak with Michael Babcock. He's the executive producer of TMZ. They broke this story on Sunday. They have been on top of every detail, and I had a chat with him about where the investigation stands.
Nick was arrested on Sunday night at about 9 p.m. and he has been in custody since. Initially, there was a $4 million bond, which was then changed to no bond. So he wasn't going anywhere. But the reality was that he had not yet been charged and nobody knew what he would ultimately be charged with. We now know it's going to be 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances. Now, there are 2 ways that the officials here, the DA, could approach this. They could seek life without the possibility of parole. Clearly, that would mean that Nick Reiner would never walk free again. Or the death penalty is on the table because of that special circumstance. Now, it doesn't mean that the DA is going to seek the death penalty. I imagine that he is going to get with the remaining family, the Reiner family, and ask what their wishes are and what would they like to see happen here. And I think that that will weigh heavily on his decision. We will see, though. 2 counts, first-degree murder with special circumstances for allegedly murdering his mother and his father.
Based on what we were able to learn from the press conference and what your sources are telling you, do the details of the crime measure up to a death penalty case?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's so egregious. I mean, the thought of harming the people who brought you into this world. I mean, it's almost too shocking to even believe.
Okay, I'm going to pause it so that I can give you some specifics on this case. Sorry, I wanted to do this first, but Mikos was having a meltdown. Why? Because we're out of chicken weenies. That's right. I need to get him more chicken weenies today. I'm sorry. Don't snort at me. He's pissed off. He's pissed off because we're out of the chicken weenies. We're out, Mookies. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. He's hit his daily quota, so I don't understand. I don't understand. You've had enough. 5 chicken weenies. Yeah, mental health is a factor. That's why Mookie's is always screaming at me. I'm presuming that's what you're talking about. Okay, so this past here, we're going to do this in timeline order because that's how I wrote it. Okay, and you know that I prefer. Don't you dare lock me in here with the screaming boy. With the screaming boy. Okay. So I'm going to give you a timeline. We're going to do this in timeline form. So this past Saturday night, there was a holiday party. Nick Reiner, the son of Rob and Michelle Reiner, was attending the party with his dad. It was at Conan O'Brien's. So he's at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. This sounds like the beginning of a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, but it does not end up that way. Oddly, though, Larry David did go to the house later, and that's so sad to see a sad Larry David, and I hated it. So at this party, this kid, Nick Reiner, who's like, I don't know why we're saying kid. What is he, 32? He's an adult man, okay? He's walking around the party, and he's got a history of drug issues and mental health issues. And he's walking around this party, and he's asking people if they're a celebrity, if they're famous. And then he interrupts Bill Hader. It's all allegedly. And Bill Hader is like talking to someone, and he lets him know, hey, this is a private conversation. And then Nick apparently just stared at them for a long time and then huffed off, and then reportedly got in a fight with his mom and dad, like arguing really loud, and then they left. People who have commented on this are all like inside sources, so it could all be bullshit. But a lot of people are reporting this, including close friends of theirs. So it's interesting. Both of them. Okay, so that was Saturday night, right? So then they all leave. Okay. Apparently sometime between then and the next day, Sunday, at 3 p.m., there was an incident where Nick allegedly went into the house, which he lived in the guest house But after this incident, he checked into a hotel and it was around 4 a.m. So he had a hotel room, but he is technically a resident there, right? There's camera footage of him walking to his parents' house. I believe after checking into the hotel. That's what it looks like. So it would have been after 4 a.m. So they likely would have been asleep. They were also in their beds when they were found. And they had their throats slit. And this is all alleged. And apparently there is also footage of him walking back. And then there's the fact that when he checked in, he was reported to be almost tweaking, like acting weird by the hotel staff. He was able to check out the next day. Some people are saying he wasn't. He was. And once he checked out the next day, which I believe would have been right before the bodies were found, because they were found at 3 p.m. There was apparently blood all over the hotel room. It was in the bed sheets. It was in the shower. It was kind of everywhere. It was wrecked. Allegedly, what happened was the masseuse showed up at the house, at the residence, shortly before 3 p.m. for an appointment. Couldn't get in, couldn't get a hold of Rob Reiner or his wife, Michelle, and then called the daughter, Romy, who lived across the street. She's an adult. I think she's in her late 20s. Called her. She's like, hey, I can't get in. So Romy goes over, checks, and finds the bodies. She freaks the fuck out naturally. She's very upset. She calls 911. Then apparently calls Billy Crystal, who is a close friend and neighbor. He comes over. Apparently he saw them too. This is all alleged. They're freaking out, and apparently, and this is also alleged, this is what was reported by a lot of different people. Apparently one of them might have still been alive when the daughter found them, which would have been around 3 p.m. And it was Michelle, the mom, and that she may have said it was Nick, and then shortly passed away. So that's why there was some confusion at the press conference. Again, all of this is allegedly. The sister also, in her interview, supposedly told the police, or when speaking to police, let them know, you need to look into my brother Nick. Now, Nick has a history of homelessness in multiple states because of drug addiction and mental health issues. Some friends of the family that stayed with them recently said that as recently as November, he was doing fantastic. But he had been to rehab supposedly 18 times in the past. His first stay before he was 14. When he was 14 years old, he talks about this on a podcast. He stole money from his mom and dad to buy a prostitute to lose his virginity to. That he'd been experimenting with substances since he was 11 is what he said on one, and 14 he said on another, but he had already been to rehab by the time he was 14. So much like Drew Barrymore when she was a little kid. Remember, she talked about her past. He was doing stuff like that. Now, the big thing is here, his mom and dad supported him 100% of the way. They sent him to the fancy rehabs, but he hated them. He said, actually, what's fucked up about this, I'm not going to go too deep into it because I do think it's fucked up, but someone from an AA or NA group that he went to has already come out and said a bunch of stuff that he said in meetings, which I think is fucked up. It's supposed to be anonymous, right? So they're clearly getting either paid off or just have no fucking moral fiber at all within them, because they're coming out and spilling the tea about statements that he made when he was in recovery. But simultaneously, there are people who are close family friends who echo some of the things she said. So only the stuff that the close family friends have come out and said, like the people who stayed with him at Christmas, also emphasize this, that's what I'll tell you about. And that's the part where they essentially said that he did feel like he hated rehab and the whole process of rehab because it felt like a cult. And I believe he was talking about NA and AA as well as going to rehabs. Apparently there was like a lot of resentment with that. Now, other family friends have stated that he was on antipsychotics for schizophrenia, while others have said he was on medication for mental health. So whichever it is, both have reported that, or have said to people in interviews that he's also talked about this, and they made a movie about it. So it's like, it's not like something that's hard to believe, but I'm saying allegedly just to be careful, but apparently he would feel better on his medication and act wonderful for a good amount of time. And then he would think he was healed because he would forget to take it one day, or he would just stop taking it. He would go off of it and he would get this surge of like adrenaline, or he would just feel like, oh, I still feel better. And then he would end up, spiraling again. And this would happen over and over. And then when he'd spiral from being off his meds, he would get really heavy into all kinds of drugs. And he'd been known to, do heroin, crystal meth, really, really heavy drugs, and also go homeless and end up in other states and then come back and do it again. And apparently, as of last month, he was acting wonderful. And then like the last week or two, it's been bad, or maybe even a couple of weeks. And he also said that, or his father had they all kind of talked about this in podcasts and stuff. And the family friends have said, like, apparently he started getting really aggressive towards his sister in the past. So something happened. Allegedly, he was acting real weird and people thought he was tweaking or on something at this party. He was being just very disruptive. Their yoga instructor, who knew him and Rob Reiner growing up and took care of, all their yoga needs, had said that this kid had endless energy and he would interrupt like the yoga sessions, like every single time they'd be there. For 20 minutes minimum, he would scream and throw huge fits. He just had behavioral issues at the wazoo. And she said, I wonder if he had ADD or whatever, but she tried to help by getting him involved and trying to wear him out, like physically exhaust him. And she said that you can't. She's like, he's just one of those kids who you can't exhaust. He's just boundless energy. He's just always like that since he was a kid. And so that was a big thing. And I thought that was fascinating. But yeah, it seems all around a lot of people are pretty aware of these situations, and how he has his ups and downs, and addiction is no joke. Hello, Foxy Amazon. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. And mahjong to you, Tiffany. Hello. We are talking about the Rob Reiner, Michelle Reiner murders by the son. Reggie Ray. Welcome. Damn it, bug. Fruit fly season again. Oh, Bubsy. K-Dubs. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. So, and Joe Nanners. Hello, hello. That overnight drip, babe. You know what it is. Graveyard. What it do? Fucking fruit flies. That's what. Okay. So, on to this. Let's see, what else did we check everything? Okay, so that's another thing is he checked into a hotel at 4 a.m. in Santa Monica on Sunday morning, which was hours after the party. Even though he lived with his parents, he'd been homeless in various states, but that night, specifically after this big situation, he checked into this hotel, and that was 4 a.m., right? He checked out of the motel room in the morning, so checkout is typically 10 or 11 a.m., right? He was reportedly strung out looking, and the motel stated there was blood all over the motel room and sheets and in the shower, meaning he likely, potentially, allegedly killed his parents and then returned to the motel room to clean up and then checked out eventually. What's interesting is Brian Enton actually interviewed a woman in their neighborhood who was friends with a bunch of people who knew them. And again, this is Brentwood, so it's like by the OJ house, it's all a lot of fancy celebrities. I think there's a lot of comedians who live there. Do the Kardashians still live there? I don't know. But yeah, this FBI agent who does a bunch of law and crime analysis and stuff, and she's on all those shows, she lived nearby and she got in her car and went there. And she was talking about this with Brian Enton. It's very interesting. It's on his channel. But yeah, so the masseuse couldn't get into the house before 3, calls the daughter, Romy. I think she's like 28. She comes across the street. with the masseuses, like, let me let you in, let me figure this out. So they find the bodies. She calls 911. She also calls Billy Crystal. He comes over. Allegedly, he's there to comfort her, sees that. He's traumatized because he's her best friend. They get the fuck out of there. The cops then seal it because apparently, there was no saving them at that point. She had passed. There are conflicting, I wouldn't say conflicting, but it's odd that there are reports that she allegedly named Nick. That part, I'm not sure if that got, I don't know, because the FBI agent lady also talks about it and she was there. So it complicates things. But either way, they got the fuck out and secured the scene and didn't want to go back in. They can only go in for exigent circumstances, right? Because Nick technically is a resident who lives there. They have to now get a search warrant, which is another reason why at the press conference they said there were no suspects and they weren't going to name anybody and they couldn't talk about Nick. The reason is because they hadn't apprehended him yet, so they didn't want him to take off or to know they were looking at him. And another reason, they're waiting on a search warrant, because if they do a search warrant on that house, right, then they're safe. If they don't and they just go in there after this has been deemed a crime scene and he is a resident, then technically there can be a loophole that Alan Jackson, who is now apparently representing this fool, can exploit. So after that, they find a bunch of surveillance. They do take him down. I'll show you the surveillance that they do have of him. He's currently under a medical hold to determine if he's fit for court. And he is allegedly being represented by attorney Alan Jackson. So because he lived in his parents' guest house, the police did need a warrant to search. They were able to get that pretty quick. And then after that, all hell broke loose because now all the stories are reporting that Bill Hader is just torn to bits and people are like already insinuating that his treatment had something to do. That's ridiculous. No. Then it turns out Barack and Michelle Obama were supposed to hang out with him that night with Rob Reiner and his wife, and they were really upset about it, and they talked about that. And then on top of that, it gets even worse because then the president decides to open his stupid fat orange mouth, and this happens. And it's disgusting because, of all the people, a lot of people were saying, well, look at the way people talk about Charlie Kirk, or look at the way celebrities talked about Charlie Kirk. But here's the big thing that I would say to you. I would say Rob Reiner was one of the only liberal talking heads who had the balls to go on Fox News and all the alternate news sources that perhaps a liberal might not choose. In fact, perhaps the enemy, if we're going to be dramatic about it. He was one of the only liberal talking head pundits / celebrities, because that's what some people considered him. He was the only one to literally be like, this is disgusting. Fuck that. This poor man. Like, how dare people? Like, he condemned people who were shitting on Charlie Kirk, and he said nice things about him when he died. So he was he's literally like one of the only people to do that, to not be shitty or bring up Charlie's past in a negative way. So for people to use that as an excuse for what the president said is absurd, in my opinion. But let's just look at what the president had to say, because what the fuck? Okay. Let me make it nice and big. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, not true, he just literally made Spinal Tap 2 and had it premiere, and it was incredible. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented, always very talented, I'm so pissed already, movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpasses all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. Now, I thought, this is fucking AI. This is Photoshop. This is not true. This is disgusting. There is no fucking way that's real. So it turns out it is real. It absolutely is 100% real. He did tweet that. He has already doubled down. He has responded to this in real life and been like, yep, he's disgusting. He said that. Fuck him. What is wrong with him? I would say he was dropped on his head, but you would literally have to smash his head against a tree when he was a baby for him to explain this. Like, this is disgusting. So that's what he said. That's what he said. So naturally, even some of it, he had the opportunity to clarify. Nope, not at all. They were murdered. They did not pass away. It's not about you. And also, that's not why. And also, ew, oh my fucking God. This is so disgusting. And this is who Gray Hughes fucking loves so much that he strokes himself off to a fake, stupid channel he made to worship this dickhead. And YouTube Bad Actors does an incredible job ripping him a new a-hole for not only that, but also the way he treats his viewers and the horrible things he says. So everyone give a big round of applause for YouTube Bad Actors. It's so nice to see you, hun. I do not know. They have not yet answered that. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. They actually, oddly, I have not seen anything about that, but apparently you could, it was pretty obvious, supposedly. Yeah, pretty vile. Oh, even he finally admitted it? Wow. Well, clip that, because that's probably the only time you're ever going to see him have an opinion that is in any way heartfelt or decent. What a psycho, dude. Yeah. And also it's really good to see you. We miss you very much. Yeah, that was deliberate. It was disgusting. So very, very gross, you know? Just not cool. You're already clipped in the Reddit. You're hilarious. You're fucking hilarious. Great pubes, indeed. Fuck, I just don't know what to say about that other than what a piece of shit, dude. What a piece of shit. I've just been resharing Trevor Moore's Whitest Kids You Know sketch, which I wish I could play here, but it would 100% copyright strike me and kick us off immediately. But he has a really, really great sketch about things that you can't legally say that you would do to the president. It's very funny. I believe he's in Canada when he's talking about it. But it's very, very good. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to wind this down here. I'm going to continue playing the rest of this story because those are all the details that I was able to scrape from across the internet and old podcast interviews and stuff like that. And I will say that there is 100% a big difference in how they handled this and the other Hollywood investigation that we've been talking about, which is Celeste Rivas Reyes. It's really, it's astounding to me. They've already done a press conference, wrapped it up, named the killer, bada boop, bada done, boom. And with Celeste, David is still out there. And he didn't just do one crime, he did a few, allegedly, possibly. Sorry. Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Did I say Reyes? I was thinking of someone else. That's my bad. A lot of crimes going on right now. Remember when presidents were presidential? Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute. All right, I'm going to let this play.
It's real. And then when you consider his history. Nick is 32 years old. He has, and it's been well documented since he was 15 years old, more than half of his life at this point. He has battled issues, a lot of it originating from substance abuse issues that has caused him to at times be homeless. But throughout that period, that near 20-year period, his mom and his dad have desperately tried to help him. And as a matter of fact, we were told from people who are familiar with the way that Rob and Michelle were thinking about their son and what was going on with them, they felt exasperated. They were at wit's end was the way that it was put to us. Not because they didn't love him. They did. They loved him so much. They were just, I think, at the point where they were ready to pull their hair out because they just didn't know what to do to help him anymore. They were that desperate, to get their son in a place where he could live life in a functional way and he could be happy and they could be happy and everyone could get along. And obviously, it doesn't seem like that happened given what he has now been accused of.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that is most tragic. Is it doesn't appear, I didn't know them, but it doesn't appear as if these are two people who buried their heads in the sands, not willing to recognize that their son had a problem. It seems like it was the exact opposite, that they were trying everything, including, I read a report from Maria Shriver, who apparently was very, very close to the couple, who said they were talking about family troubles with Nick and how they wanted to help and how they had tried everything. And so this leads me to ask about the Conan O'Brien Christmas party, because something happened at that party. And that was right before the murders.
Absolutely. And I think it's ultimately going to be very important and play a crucial role in what ultimately allegedly happened here. But every year, Conan O'Brien throws a holiday party, and it's kind of like a ritzy and a glamorous event where a lot of his celebrity friends will get together. And Conan O'Brien and the Reiners were friends, and they would often attend the party. And it was no different this year. Everybody gets dressed up nice. You wear a suit. You've got a dress on, and everyone attends the party and has a good time. Well, they brought Nick this year. We were told, however, Nick just seemed out of place at the event. He was wearing a hoodie, was acting very aloof and detached and not, conversating with people. And it just seemed like something was off with Nick. Then later on in the night, we were told that Rob Reiner and Nick got into a big fight, a big argument, a blowout verbal altercation that was so bad and so intense that Rob Reiner and Michelle ultimately left the party. It's unclear if Nick left the party or not, but mom and dad did leave. Obviously, then that Saturday night on Sunday at about 3:40 p.m., their daughter Rami walks into their Brentwood home and finds her parents slain and calls 911. Obviously, the Conan party was one of the last places where they were seen publicly. In fact, the last place they were seen out publicly together.
Is the general working theory from what you're hearing from your sources that they were killed in their sleep or killed at their home or killed in the middle of the night? Do we know? Because it seems like there's now a huge gap of time that needs to be filled in. And that's what investigators.
I don't know if interesting is the right word, but this I think is a crucial piece here that the investigators are going to have to figure out. So Conan party Saturday night, they have the fight. Sunday morning at 4 a.m., Nick, who was living in the Brentwood compound, a big, beautiful house where they lived, he checks into a hotel, 4 a.m. in Santa Monica. One night, pays with a credit card. We were told, looked out of it, but not that he had any wounds on him or he was bloodied, nothing like that. Ultimately, checkouts the next morning at 11 a.m. He never physically actually checks out. When it comes time for the hotel staff to go and clean the room and get it prepared for whoever's going to stay in that room next, the room is a bloody mess when they walk in. Now, this is probably sometime around 11 a.m. noon in that time frame. This is before Rob Reiner and Michelle were found. This is 4 hours or so before. The room is a bloody mess. The window is covered with a sheet. And there's the rug place. Obviously, at that point, police are called. So I think the question is here.
Now, one thing I will say, a lot of people have been stating that Nick had been slipping into addiction by way of tweaking. He looked like he was tweaking. He would, get into whatever. It used to be heroin. Now it's meth. I take all that with a grain of salt, until you start hearing it from more and more people. And they're like friends of the family. Okay, well, that's weird. And then when he's talking about it on a podcast, you're like, okay, well, now I believe it because he's openly admitting to it. But recently, some of them said that he was behaving like that. And when I heard sheets on the windows, I went, oh, shit. Yeah, I do think that might have been what's going on, just my opinion. But I'll tell you what, when I used to clean abandoned apartments, newly abandoned apartments, that was often a bit of a problem there at this one complex. It was many years ago, but always with the sheets or foil or newspaper or just a ton of blankets covering the windows. It was wild. Anyway, I digress.
allegedly done to the Reiners before Nick checked into that hotel? And was he able to hide whatever blood he might have had on his person until he could get in the room? And then did he sort of, as he's kind of taking his clothes off, is blood then transferred into the hotel room? Or does he allegedly sneak out of the hotel room after he checks in at 4 p.m., go back to his parents' home, harm them, and then comes back to that hotel room and gets the room all bloodied, kind of sneaking back in without anybody seeing him? I think those are the two possibilities there. It's got to be one of those two, as long as he is behind this crime, as obviously the district attorney and the police think he is.
Do you think?
Yeah, he's definitely not being framed. I mean, the mom said it was him. There's a lot of surveillance. There's blood in the hotel room. He's got the history. He's very addicted. He would blow up in front of people. Like, he fucking did it. The sister said it was him. The mom who had it done to her said it was him. The president and a lot of psychotic people, including Miss Shorty, loved this one because she's a Nazi now. A lot of people want to make it that. Especially, and I'm not saying you are. I'm saying like other people, they've been putting that anytime, especially if it's a Jewish person, whether they're the victim or whether they're the suspect. Anytime anyone Jewish is involved in the next couple of months, hopefully less time, but certainly in the past year, you're going to have an uprise of people trying to blame it on that pretty immediately. And that is quickly going to become a common conspiracy theory, because that is what is already happening. And I absolutely don't think it is for political reasons whatsoever. That is something that a lot of people, though, who would want you to think that, seem to be sharing quite a bit. And that's another reason why I don't think it's at all possible, because it would do nothing. Think about it. It would benefit no one. But the idea of making us all paranoid into thinking that could be, that's kind of the point. And so I know, but I won't even throw that out there. I feel you, but I don't even want to think like that, because it's so that far that way. It's so pointless, frankly. But what the Mookie, see, because he's already screaming at me for even talking about it. I don't think it has anything to do with it. It was the exact opposite of what the president said is probably what happened, which is this, the truth. So that's the way I feel about that. Yeah, we don't need to, it's like saying maybe she was pregnant. It's like, we don't even need to go there. It was a toddler. Maybe she was pregnant. No, let's not be. We'll need to. The obvious answer is right there, and they've already got him in custody. So this isn't one of those we got to solve them. This is more of a, this is what happened, and it's sad.
Do your sources believe that we are going to find a motive here, that we are going to know what really happened?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we likely will, because the reality is you had a lot of people at that Conan party who saw and heard what happened. You've got a lot of people who are really familiar with the inner workings and the family dynamic. So I think perhaps we don't find out exactly verbatim what might have been said if this argument carried over back to the home and it turned violent. I don't know that we will ever find that out. I hope so. I hope so for the family's sake. I think we will learn more, though, about the dynamic between them. And they were really integrated into that community there. I mean, one of the first calls after Romy Reiner made this phone call to police, asking for help desperately, one of the first people she called was Billy Crystal, who then came over to the scene. And Billy Crystal was there with his wife. He was dear friends with Rob Reiner. He actually saw his friend's body before it was taken away. That's how quick he got to the scene. So I think they really were a part of that, an integral part of that community. And I do think a lot of people really were in the know about what was going on with Nick, Rob, and Michelle here.
It's shocking that the details of that fight haven't yet come out.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a fight, but I mean, again, you're saying this was at a holiday party. This was not in a private room someplace. This was out in the open. One last thing. We also understand that Alan Jackson has been retained to represent him and to represent Nick. And of course, he's presumed innocent, but boy, he's one of the heavy hitters in terms of defense attorneys.
I could not agree more. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who will put up a formidable defense. It's Alan Jackson. Just obviously is very successful with Karen Reed. He got Kevin Spacey off of some very serious charges. And he, I think, you talk about the Agnifilos, and obviously I know a case that's happening in your backyard.
I just want to also make it clear. I know that you weren't. There's also, I'm just letting you know that there are people who are trying to push that, and I'm like, let's go with the evidence. Yeah, because like you said, it makes sense. It makes sense that he did it. but there are people that are trying to push that for political agendas, and it's like so crazy that they're doing that I'm like, we're not even going to explore it, you know? And some people don't know that they're doing that, but yeah, it's very it's wild. Yeah, there was no forced entry because also he lived there, you know? And that's why they had to get the warrant. Come here. What's wrong? I just took him outside and he's already screaming. He's still screaming. You has food? No, we don't have chicken weenies. I'm sorry, but I'll try to get you some, okay? We're going to try to get him some chicken weenies. You've had your daily allotted amount. Do you understand? He's screaming at me about chicken weenies and we don't have any. Now, look, other daddy saw you. Uh-oh. He's going to come pick you up. He's going to come get you. Dude, Mookie's getting picked up as a vibe. He's going to freak out. You going to try to do it? If he's not in the mood, he's going to get pieced. He's going to get pieced off. He's such a good little man. Oh, yes, give your daddy kisses. I need to put his creams on. Okay, here we go.
New York City. But I think he is right up there with the best defense attorneys that you could ever want. So he's gonna be the guy on the other side of Nathan Hochman's office here, and they know for sure now that they've got a fight on their hands, and they better make sure that they are buttoned up across the board because he is again a very competent defense attorney, as competent as they come.
What, as we head into tonight, tomorrow, and the next couple of days, what are you focused on? What is TMZ working on? The rest of us should be waiting to hear.
I'll say this. Speaking of Alan Jackson, he is already seemingly working on a defense.
Also, the number is more than 18. More than 18. Mookie, are you scratching me? He just came up and jumped on me and scratched me. What do you want? Oh, I'm going to have to go in a minute, you guys. Mookie's demands it. I'm sorry. Mookie's is demanding my time. He's being freaking crazy. And I feel like I did do the wrestling rant in the middle. And yeah, Koberger definitely did it. Yeah, more than once a year. Because he also went multiple times before he was 14. He's like, what, 32 or 38? It's a lot. And then they made a movie about it called Charlie. Yeah, no, he wants my attention. What's crazy is I've been literally playing with him since he woke up. He's already torn up 3 toys with me. He's eaten. I've taunted him. He's followed me in the bathroom when I pee. The only time he's not attacking or up my butt or in my arms is literally when he's sleeping. Please forgive me. But Mookie's does call. He does call. We're going to have to talk about John Cena later. Just know that even though everyone's threatening Triple H and saying mean things about him, it's all in jest. It's part of kayfabe. I mean, people really are mad, but I don't know why, because it's tradition. He's supposed to lose his last match. You're supposed to lose your match out of retirement. That was kind of the whole point when Shawn Michaels says, I love you, I'm sorry. And then he kicked Ric Flair in the face and won. That's why, because it was his retirement. I know. That's why The Undertaker lost his last match. Retirement. You put someone over. That's what Cena did. Anyway. Good night. Goodbye. We love you. We're going to talk more about this later. But RIP to Rob Reiner and his wife. Thank you for asking. His anal glands are great. Sorry, I swallowed some spit weird. Excuse me. Yeah. We do need to get his nails trimmed though, so I might ask them to check his anal glands. Why is mental health so much worse now compared to boomers and early Gen? Oh, I wouldn't say it's worse. I would say everybody's just telling each other their thoughts and feelings more. I think it's always been this bad. People just didn't express it. And also when they did, they were like in wars in Vietnam. We haven't had a war in we have, but not in that way in a while. Usually a lot of people who have that kind of rage will also go sign up for some shit. Also, like, you know, the wage, as long as the wage keeps going down, As long as the wages are not rising with the cost of goods, people are going to get more and more crazy. And that includes rent. Because if people can't afford enough to take care of themselves, then mental health is the last of your priorities. You're just trying to live it all. So I've always said pay the people more, especially the people who are experiencing mental health crises. Give them more goods and services, and you're going to see less crazy people. Is it going to cost you a little bit in taxes? Yeah, it's going to cost you a couple more cents. But are people going to camp outside your front door? Is crime going to go down? Yeah, crime's going to go down. No, people are probably not going to be camping as much outside your front door. People can afford a place to live and food and all these things. You know, and people didn't speak about it back then. They held it all in. You know, and a lot more people died of heart attacks and shit. But yeah, I think that, yeah, mental health hospitals, not enough. Like, there's just so much shit. But in the end, it all comes down to what? Money. And if all the rich people have it, and it's all like a couple of people who have more wealth than anybody, 98% of America, as long as that keeps happening, it's gonna get worse. You know? Also, why are crazy people crazy? Some are born with it. Sometimes it's Maybelline. Sometimes it's like life and stressors. A lot of people might have that in them, but they don't have that mental snap. Why? Because maybe they haven't been pushed to those stressor points. What brings down stress? Quality of life. How do you raise quality of life? Being able to survive and take care of yourself, having opportunities. So as long as opportunities are going away, money's going down for the lower and middle class, and there aren't enough jobs, and the jobs that there are not the type that will help you, that make you feel good, you know. As long as there's all this stress going on and all, just, I mean, shit, we're gonna see a lot more, and also access to weapons. So like, make everyone broke, give them easy access to weapons. Hey, you know what? Milk is expensive, but you want a gun? Like, it's kind of where we're heading towards, and it's spooky. So yeah, I think the economy kind of facilitates in fucking everyone over. Business is crumbling. You know, people, think about it. If you have nowhere to live, no food to eat, deprivation, right? It's going to make people pissed. People can't even afford to do like something nice for themselves, and their whole life is a struggle. It's going to make it harder if they have it in them, you know. It's just a lot. It's very sad. So yeah, I think that helping people out and giving them more options, more hospitals, better living conditions, making things like the shit that they give you for fentanyl overdoses, like, they're still questioning the legality of that shit. Narcan in some states, like, not having that available, like, still questioning that at all is crazy. There's absolutely no funding towards getting the drugs off the street that also cause issues. Like, it's fucked. But hey, you know what? We'll talk about that more later. That's a capitalism argument, and it's also very political. There's so many things that is. But you know what that isn't? It isn't Big Boy on the Roof. Thank you for being here tonight. I love you all. You're the best. I'll see you later. Bye.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't been on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't lay on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Never seen a big boy grill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy grill on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy grilling on the roof. Big boy ain't grilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't driving on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got tubes on your back. Driving on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never, oh shit, and you falling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you do it like that? Big shit, you just like a